And good morning, Space Engineers. This is Mr. Xarian, and welcome to episode number 16 of our Let's Play series. How's everyone doing? Good? Good. Alright, so, I've been doing some more work on the base. As you can see, we have the top deck done, all the walls are in, the roof is in, and the lights are in. Not too shabby. Now, what does this mean? Well, what does it mean? What is this for? Well, I've decided that these are officers' quarters, alright? Now, that's because it's really space inefficient. You know, we could have a bunch more beds in here and some storage, but, you know, this is for the base officers and the Honora officers who are working on, you know, any of the ships that are docked to the station or assigned here. So they need some decent quarters. So, yeah, that's what these will be. Nice single room, you know. I wish there was a small locker block that this added, but there isn't one in the pack, so that's alright. Now, the ones over here that actually face out to the gantries, these are actually larger than the ones over here that face off the rest of the asteroid, alright? So I'm assuming that this is like junior officer, and then the senior officers all sleep over here. Also, because they need some place to eat, I get it in a mess hall. Small, roomy, stove, oven, some fridges, countertops, sink, and some tables to eat at. And not a bad view either. Which I kind of like, you know. Now, what I did was I kind of did something a little bit different with this. Because, if you come over to here, you can kind of see what I was doing. Basically, when I was looking at this, I decided that it was looking a little bit samey if I had the windows all in the same plane. So I ended up recessing them. They're still in the same block as the wall, right? See, they're still in the block that I'm in right now. If I get over here, see? You can see where the outlines are showing up. But they're flipped around and they're set on the back side of this instead of being set out on the front. Kind of thought that gave it a little bit better of a look than what else I was doing. And we have our antenna here. I'm not certain what the heck the antenna is actually supposed to do, but alright, that's fine. And yes, so this is what we're doing. Now you can see we have these spaces for 2x3 windows, and that's because I kind of want people to have a view, you know? I want people to be able to see what's going on around them and outside and everywhere. Now, this area doesn't have any link up to the rest of our conveyor system because it really doesn't need it yet. Let's emphasize that yet part. It doesn't need it yet. So let's see. If I go over, I want to come all the way over here. Let's pop this thing open. Let's switch there. Oh. Yep. Alright, well, let's fix that. Let's see. Let's get back over to here. And you can see we're actually sending a hallway down to the side of the ship. So this hallway here. So this area in here is going to become kind of like a little courtyard area, if you will. Even though there's nothing growing because it's outer space and grass kind of needs oxygen to grow, right? Yeah, kind of an issue. But what we are able to do, I figured, you know, have a nice little open area, at least give them a shot at seeing maybe the outside world somehow. And I need window 2x3. There we go. I wish it was a 2x2 window, but it doesn't look like there is one. So this is going to have the same sort of, you know, pulled in window, if you will. Like right about there. Hopefully these are going in the right way. You never really know with this sort of stuff. Yeah, these are. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So we could just drop these in. Oops. That's not where you're supposed to go. That's where you're supposed to go. Now, we are running into some issues. Namely, we're running out of stuff. Like, interior plates. We're running out of interior plates. Metal grid, interior plates, that sort of stuff. And that's mostly because we're using a lot of them. Like, we are using a ton of interior plates. Just each one of these blocks, metal grids, each one of these blocks has 48 small steel tubes and 18 metal grids. I've given up on the small steel tubes because I just ran out of them. And those blocks really aren't going to be facing damage, if you will, right? We don't have to worry about those blocks getting damaged by whatever, so we don't really have to worry about it. All right, so let's pop this guy open. Let's get out some plates to do our marking with, right? Come on. I had my numpad turned off there. I was fighting with key bindings in Skyrim last night because I've been playing Scrim again. Which, I suppose there are worse things you could be playing. Alright, so we didn't really want that. What we really wanted to do were that. So one of the things I have to kind of comment about, so any construction components, is that this is really, it's really interesting because I'm trying to roleplay this a little bit for you guys, because I'm a pen and paper role player, old school D&D sort of stuff, and I think if you don't have reasons for doing stuff in this game, you're going to run out of time, or run out of stuff to do, basically, which is like the worst thing that could happen for me being a YouTuber is just running out of stuff to do. So we're going to have to come out with this, right? Yeah, we're going to have to come out like this. And now... That should be far enough there, right? Yeah, it should be. So then, we're going to come out, and let's see how much space we have here. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I come over, up, right, and then I put my wall out here, I'll space for a few more windows. Oh, look, and they even match up. That's a miracle. Seriously, no, that is a miracle for me. Okay, so then we can come... Except... Yes, okay. So we'll go like this, right? But now that we have this, we're going to have to convert that over. Like that. Perfect. Just kind of figuring stuff out. Don't mind me. There we go. So now that it's coming out like that, bring these guys up. Alright. And I will eventually get to painting this thing. I just haven't really gotten around to doing that yet. And then over here, we can go 1, 2, 3, bum. Nope. So go 1, 2, 3, bum, bum. And this will come out, right? And all of this is being made out of light armor blocks because this is not a military space station, guys. This is, kind of a trading post, supply base. There's no reason to really, heavily armor it or protect it or do any of that stuff. But one of the things I am going to have to work on is some sort of a command center, and that's what this building is going to be. Not its current level, it's going to come up more. But it's going to be some kind of like a command center, command deck, ops, whatever you want to call it. Because even though this is a civilian base, Anura does have military vessels. And they do need to deploy those vessels on occasion. And they need someplace to command them from and sort of coordinate fleet movements and all the stuff that a military organization would need to use. So we need someplace for, our base commanders and our military commanders to hang out. And, they need to be doing traffic control and all that sort of stuff. So they need an ops center, and I'm working on a design for it kind of in my head right now. The irony is, the hardest thing to figure out is where the heck I'm going to put the ladders. Or the ramps leading up into the command center so it doesn't block anyone's vision. That's one of the things I always complain about. I love Star Trek. I mentioned I was a Trekkie in a previous episode. And but one of the things that drove me nuts was their bridges. Like, one at the top of the ship with a window. Now, I understand that you want to, you know, be able to kind of see what's going on around you. So I'm going to need 3 more of those 3 buys, right? Yeah, okay. Like, I understand you want to be able to see what's going on around you, but seriously exposing your entire your command crew of all the people in the world to, you know, space like that, it makes much more sense to me like David Weber stuff, right? Where in the Honorverse series, they literally bury those bridges in, like, the deepest part of the ship they can find. Like, seriously, they put them next to, like, the reactors. Because it makes sense, right? Like, oh, gee, let's put our reactor, let's put the most vital stuff in the exact center of the ship, where the least likelihood of anything actually hitting it. Which is actually how modern ships tend to work. The only reason the bridge tends to be up high on the ship was traditionally, and that's so you could actually see and maneuver. Though I think a lot of the U.S.'s newer ships, they're actually now putting them down deep inside the hull of the ship as well. Because, you know, now we have cameras and communication sensors and all that sort of stuff that basically eliminates the need to worry about, you know, can you actually see what's going on around you? Which is, you know, I mean, I know some people who are, you know, kind of decry that. You know, they miss the old days of the ships, you know. But there were people who also missed the old big gun battleships too. So, you know, hey, time marches on and technology improves, and especially in military technology. You know, what you used 4 years ago is probably worthless today. I mean, that's true for some things, not all things. Yep, we're probably out of metal grade. Yep, that's probably what just happened. Which is kind of a continuing issue, because we literally just burned through, you know, most of... Let's actually look what our stockpiles are. Just doing this, so I still have that ship down there. But just doing this, I've burned through probably most of my metal grids at this point. Yeah. See, I really don't have anything... Gosh. See, as you can see, I'm actually running a little low on components now. You know, I'm not running low on raw materials, that's the trick. I'm just running low on components. I wonder if this thing has any metal grids in it. Not many, but some. And then, let's see. You know what we'll do? We'll take this thing down and see what's left in that transporter. Is there anything actually in its inventory? Yeah, there's some stuff in there. Okay. So let's hop around to here. Pop this thing open. Store all of that junk. Now let's get back into this thing. And yes, guys, this is more of a here's how I play the game episode, you know. Walking you all through, just kind of what I do. Alright, so let's drop down. Ooh, there's some ramps over here. That's good. That's very good. So as you can see, I basically gutted this ship now. Much better. And these are just going to be interior plates. And a little bit of steel plate, too. So we'll move through the ship. And remember, this guy was actually converted to a station, so... we don't have to worry about any bits and pieces deciding just to fly away on us. And yes, we're kind of parting the ship out, but... what do you do with an old warship? You rip it apart for spares. Actually, we don't, usually. Usually what happens to old warships is they're actually mothballed, where they're basically put into, like, the military's attic, in case we ever need them again. Because warships are expensive, right? And honestly, a lot of them can be retrofitted. Carriers especially, as long as they have a long enough flight deck and strong enough catapults to launch more modern fighters. Oh, as long as they have the facilities to support modern fighters, basically. Which would be a long enough launch deck, a catapult, that can actually launch a fighter realistically, efficiently, and strong enough capture equipment to actually catch the thing when it comes into land. They can be modified, you know? I mean, you can dig an old carrier out of her mothball, retrofit her, and still, you know, make good use of her. It's just that, you know, there's a certain amount of money that the Navy has. I mean, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, they have a lot of money floating around. But warships are also expensive. I mean, ridiculously expensive. You know, the Navy's actually was talking, I was reading an article the other day, the U.S. Navy is planning on introducing nuclear cruisers soon. Because they realized that even though nuclear-powered warships are actually more expensive to construct, it would save them millions. Actually, excuse me, not millions. It would save them billions with a B of dollars in fuel costs. And before I get all my comments filling up with, oh gosh, nuclear reactors, the United States Navy has had exactly 0 reactor criticality accidents in its history. 0. 0. Now, a criticality accident is basically like 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, that sort of thing. You know, the stuff everyone thinks about. They've had, like, low-level accidents, either radiation exposure aboard ship, or the water in a ship's nuclear reactor has to be swapped out because it becomes less effective over time, let's say. They've had some accidents where a little bit of that has leaked, but it's never been enough to cause any serious problems. Just there wasn't enough of it to really, you know, affect much of anything in the ocean. But yeah, you know, they are the world's largest operator of nuclear power plants, and them and the Russians were. Of course, we're not going to talk about the Russian safety record, but they've had exactly 0 criticality accidents in their history. Nuclear reactors are also much safer than people think they are, but do I have time to rant about that? Yeah, I have time to rant about that. So, nuclear power plants, modern ones at least, are designed with so many safety features that A, what happened in Chernobyl would probably never happen. B, I know Fukushima, but that was actually, people say, oh, it was a modern plant in a Western country. It actually wasn't. The Fukushima power plant was built probably close after World War II, kind of at the very beginning of the nuclear power industry. And it was kind of built fast, dirty, and cheap because Japan needed power. This is right after World War II, where, you know, we, the United States, had basically shredded their industry, and power production was toast, and they were in the midst of a fairly serious power crisis at that point. And so we were rebuilding them, of course, to serve as a bulwark against the Soviet Union and communism. And we told them, hey, build nuclear power plants. You know, they generate a lot of power in not a lot of space, and they're cheaper to run long-term than coal plants. And Japan does not have good supplies of domestic coal. They don't have good supplies of domestic much of anything, actually. Part of the reason World War II even happened was because they were pretty much running out of resources. Or at least resources that can be used modern, you know. The famous katana, the reforged katana. The reason why they actually had to forge them like they did wasn't actually because of artistry or anything else. It's because the iron that they had was terrible. And so brittle it would just snap if you tried to use it in a sword for any length of time. So they actually had to, you know, invent that forging process to... What? Really? I didn't even... Did you just run out of juice? Oh. That's what happened. You lost your power plant. Really? Like, really? Control panel, landing gear, auto lock. Well, so at least now if he bumps into something, he'll slap onto it. Where was that reactor located? Where did I even put that thing? I always put it someplace really strange for it to pump off. Like that. Yeah, where would I have put the darn thing? In the back somewhere? Like, there's no space where I would have put it. No, that's because I didn't build this thing. That's right, I did I? Huh. Let me just pull this gyroscope off for a minute. Let me get underneath it, because that... Right, there's a medium cargo container there. The conveyor. Where the heck did he put the new power plant for this thing? Huh. That's kind of strange. I don't know where he actually put... Oh, because it was a large reactor. It should have been right here. Right. Well, we'll have to fix that off camera because we've run out of time. Oh, gosh. Alright, guys. So this has been Mr. Kassarian. I want to thank you all for watching. I'm going to try and smack this thing into the ground somewhere. Yeah, so you can just sit there, I guess. Well, thank you guys for watching and listening to me ramble and rant and rave for a little while. Anyways, so by the next episode, I'm probably going to have the Enlisted Men's Mess done. At least I hope I will. We'll see how long that takes, but we'll have the Enlisted Men's quarters done that come off of this hallway that's reaching down the side of the ship right there. So hopefully that will be good. Anyways, this has been Mr. Kassarian. I want to thank all of you guys for watching, and as always, happy mining, guys.